The car wreck attorney is Jim Desmond from Desmond Law Office, and he joins us now, and I've got a lot of questions for you. First of all, Jim, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
I appreciate the education because I think there's a lot of questions that you've told me. You said, hey, I'm wide open here. You go ahead and throw them at me.
Okay.
So today I thought we'd talk, since you are the car wreck attorney, let's talk a little bit about educating people about insurance. So I guess this sounds very basic probably to you, but to me, I'm curious, what kind of insurance do you actually need to have?
Well, and that's, John, I'm glad you asked that. The problem people don't understand about the law is we all think, okay, the other guy was at fault. He should be responsible for everything. That's logical, but of course the law is not always logical. So what you got to learn is that before the car accident happens, you've got to put on your own policy. I don't care if it's a motorcycle, I don't care if it's for a teenager, I don't care who it's for, okay, a car itself, uninsured and underinsured coverage, and I always tell people at least $100,000 per person, okay? If you can afford more, do more. Those two coverages are the primary ones that protect you when you're not at fault. And the reason I preach about these so much is, as much as it's against the law to drive without insurance in Kentucky, people do it all the time. And the problem you have with that is, okay, if my client gets hit with someone who doesn't have insurance, you know, let's not even worry about pain and suffering per se yet. We've got a lot of out-of-pocket expenses. How do we get those paid? How do we get co-pays and deductibles paid? We go back against his own insurance for what we call the uninsured motorist claim. But again, if you don't have that coverage before the accident happens, it doesn't exist.
Ah, okay, so I'm looking here at the acronym. So it's UM.
UM is uninsured, okay. Underinsured is UIM.
UIM is that, okay. Do you need both those coverages?
You need both of them, and when you see your declarations page on the insurance policy, they'll usually have like a 50,000/100,000. First number is what the maximum they'll pay out under that policy for that coverage to one person. Second number is they don't care if 40 people are injured in the accident, they're not paying out more. And the thing that people don't understand is when an accident happens, it's like a photograph is taken. Everything that's in that photograph stays there. You can't put anything in, you can't pull it out. So if you didn't have that coverage ahead of time, then I could be in a situation where I say, you know, John, you're right. You got a good case. You got hit by somebody who was bad, you know, in the sense of liability or drunk, whatever it might be. And the problem is I'm sitting here struggling to try to make your case, and your case may not even be trying to, you know, make a big pain and suffering claim. It might be out-of-pocket expenses or lost wages for extended periods of time, whatever it might be.
Okay, for someone who's an uninsured motorist, they don't have insurance. Okay, and I think you've touched upon this, but I want to go deeper here. So you get a, let's say you have a judge give you, here's my decision, here's what I think. You have a claim, and they're saying, okay, this is what he owes you. If he's uninsured, that falls back on your insurance?
Yes.
Okay, so do your rates go up for something he caused? I mean, I'm just throwing everything at you here.
No, and they can. They can. They're not supposed to. If an accident's not your fault, there's a statute that says your rates are not supposed to go up. But again, you got to talk to your insurance agent about that part. The part that I'm trying to say is, okay, even if you got to use your own insurance, you have a source of recovery. Because the problem you get, okay, if you're driving around, if you've got a good career, a good job, okay, you want to have insurance to protect those assets.
Sure.
If someone doesn't have the career, doesn't have the assets, has a whole lot of other debts, and they have no insurance, I can sue that person and say, yes, that person was at fault, they caused a lot of damages to my client, but I get a piece of paper that says they owe my client $100,000 or more, whatever it might be. It doesn't do any good. It's a piece of paper that says they owe you money.
Collecting that, yeah.
Yeah. And so instead of being able to take care of things as they come up, because you're having, you know, during this whole time, let's say I do all that, and it's 18 months from now, well, you've incurred out-of-pocket expenses, deductibles, co-pays, lost wages. You need that source to be able to recover from, okay? And so the uninsured, your company, yes, steps up and protects you. And it's crazy that we have to do this, but before it ever happens, you got to be able to do this. Underinsured, same concept, but again, like we said in the first interview, the state minimum is $25,000 per person. Well, if this guy sends you to the hospital and you got a $30,000 medical bill, immediately he doesn't have enough insurance coverage, and I can go against his company to try to recover more. Your company, I'm sorry, your own company to try to recover more.
Wow. So the kind of coverage that you have can affect the amount you receive in the case. Is correct? Okay.
I could work so much less if I had a couple of cases.
Really?
I can talk about this one because a client always gave me permission. I had a case years ago that motorcycle, $700,000 worth of medical bills, and we recovered $25,000 because, again, no insurance on the truck, no insurance on the owner, no insurance on the driver, and he had $25,000 of uninsured coverage on the motorcycle because he's a friend and he did that before he ever was in the accident. He didn't put as much as I wanted him to, but he only had that because I told him. Okay, so bad case, and luckily he was well taken care of through his employer. But that's the kind of situation.
So I've been wrong all along. My mind always thinks this way. It's like I have insurance in case I am at fault, so that I'll cover myself.
Right.
But actually, it's also to help you. So when you pick coverage, think about yourself, right?
Well, and what you're talking about in the first half is the liability coverage. They call it bodily injury, and that's the confusing part when you see an insurance policy. You're like, bodily injury, I'm protected up to this. What it means is, if you're at fault, yes, you're protected up to that. They're going to defend you up to that. But the problem is, what about when you're not at fault? Your insurance company throws up their hands and says, hey, do we have these other kind of coverages, or are we out of the picture? And that's the problem you have. It's again, I mean, I always try to stress to people, because I know there's a lot of resentment sometimes toward personal injury attorneys and stuff. We're trying to get you set up with it. The advice I'm giving you today, you can use with any insurance agent in town, any personal injury attorney in town, and you choose what to do with it. But like that photograph, if it's there ahead of time, you've got options. If it's not there ahead of time, we're sitting here scrambling trying to make things work.
If you're in a car accident, it's pretty obvious here. Jim Desmond has the answers. Not only does your coverage affect your judgment and how much you can receive, but it also protects your rights. In what way?
And protects, in the sense of that, yes, you again have a source to recover from. Again, I mean, think about insurance. You're transferring that risk of loss to someone else. I mean, that's the problem we have. Again, we hit on this a little bit when we first met, is again, we plan for retirement, disability insurance, all these other things, but then you get in a car accident and all of a sudden, boom, it's a totally different story. What
can go wrong for people who do not call an attorney? They're in a car accident and they don't call an attorney. What can go awry here, Jim?
I used to want to say that the car accidents were such you could handle it on your own. It would almost be like selling a house, because you can do that on your own, or you can hire a realtor. It's gotten complicated enough that I don't necessarily believe that anymore. You've got to know, first of all, what sources to recover from. A liability carrier, the one who's at fault, is not going to tell you how to make an underinsured claim against your own policy, even if they exhaust the policy limits down here. Health insurance has a right to get their money back. People don't understand that, okay? Health insurance now has a provision in there that says, yes, we will pay your medical bills if you're injured because of someone else's fault. But if you recover from that person, we have a right to recover from you, okay? So again, you're getting a settlement, you think you're fine, you think you're saving an attorney's fee, and 18 months later you got health insurance knocking on the door and saying, well, where's our portion? See what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
So there's a lot of little things like that.
But a big thing that I love that you do, okay, so you want a personal relationship with an attorney. If you're in an accident, unfortunately, knock on wood, I hope you never are, but if you are, you want a relationship where you can call your attorney, he answers the phone, you don't have to go through a maze to meet him or talk to him. You give out your cell phone. That's a little extreme. Are you comfortable with that?
It is not extreme. Everybody.
All these ladies are calling Jim. Hey, Jim, I like you on TV. No, really. No, that is nice.
I wish that was the case, but no such luck. But no, I've done that for 15 years. Then my cell phone's all over the web, okay? And you would think, I really expected other attorneys to borrow it, and they don't do it. They might do it a little bit, but not to the same degree, and not, really advertising it. Like I've said before, I mean, if I can give advice directly, we do better. Okay, because again, I can figure out, can I help you right off the bat? I'm not going to put you through 6 months of waiting around for either a personal injury settlement or a lawsuit and trying to figure out, can we help you? It's just, and like I said, my clients are great about it. They literally, the text or whatever else, they'll text me over the weekend. They know I may not respond sometimes right away, but I mean, it's good. I can get, you pick up the phone, and if it's a bad time, you say, is it an emergency? And if they really need to talk to you, then I can step out of most things for 5 minutes. So.
I like that. I like that. That's that personal attention that you need if you're in an accident. That's why they call it personal injury. It's very personal. Jim Desmond, there's the number on the screen. That is his cell phone. Jim, thank you again. Good information.
Thanks for having me.